All right.
Excuse me?
So this one is just me and Mark. John basically couldn't be bothered. He just could not be bothered.
I think his words were, fuck off and do it yourselves. I think that was his exact words.
Well, in his defense, in fairness, and all joking aside, in his defense, the My Little Pony convention only comes to Ireland once every couple of years.
In fairness.
The pandemic pushed it back as well, so
yeah.
He is a big fan. We both know he's a big fan. He's been a fan of My Little Pony for
20,
honestly
30 years.
18, 19 years now at this stage.
And the other thing is, I suppose, the only mates he has in the world are going to be there.
Yeah. Well,
they're all kids, but...
They're all bronies. So,
yeah.
I mean, I know for a fact that he doesn't actually dress up in the My Little Pony outfit at home that much. Now, I know he doesn't actually dress at home that much. So this is, in fairness, this is his
big night out here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we don't actually hold it against him.
No.
All joking aside, go for it, John. We're proud of you.
Yeah, we're proud of you. We support you. We stand in solidarity with you and your unique outlook on life.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a large man.
You know, there's room for us all at the table, isn't that right? We're an all-inclusive podcast.
We are.
All right. So with that in mind, let's do it.
UFC 263. Thoughts on the main card in general?
I thought it was actually an all right main card. There was a couple of decent fights on it.
A couple of surprises, maybe.
A couple of surprises, yeah, absolutely.
We'll kick off with the light heavyweights: Paul Craig, Jamahal Hill.
Yeah, I like Paul Craig.
Best he's ever looked.
Yeah, definitely the best he's ever looked. His striking has never been great, but I don't think that's a surprise. He's just not a natural striker.
It's getting a little bit better. His movement, I think, is getting a bit better.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement in his striking.
Yeah.
Now, he is lucky. Okay, that's probably not the right way of looking at it. His jiu-jitsu has been and is strong enough that if he has to fall back on it, he has a serious jiu-jitsu game.
Well, I would say, and I'm open to correction here, but in the light heavyweight division, I would say he is the most aggressive submission artist.
Yeah.
He had 8 submissions as an amateur out of 8 fights. He's had 13 submissions as a professional out of 15 wins, 2 knockouts, never been through a decision. Yeah. He is now on a 3-fight win streak, and apart from a split draw, he's won 4 of his last 5, with 1 of them being a split draw. No loss. The last time he lost was 2010.
Okay.
Now 2 of those were against Mauricio Shogun, which to me he should have been retired.
Yeah.
But he's and weirdly, this is actually down as a TKO win.
That's a very strange way of putting that win.
Yeah. But Jesus, unbelievably aggressive when he gets onto the mat. He's not looking to set up a long sequence of he knows what he wants, and he goes aggressively after.
I don't think he even. Now again, I only have a fan's outlook at the type of jiu-jitsu tactics that are being used, but it doesn't look like he even sets traps. He just waits for you to put your hand down and he dives on it, or a leg or a neck. He just dives on it. He doesn't. There's no.
No, I know what you mean. It's like he decides on whether it's an arm, a leg, whatever presents itself, and then he just aggressively goes after it.
He's not subtle about it.
No.
So there's no.
If you're going to the ground, if you end up on the ground with him, it's a very, very aggressive submission-based ground game.
Terrible place to be for any light heavyweight.
Yeah,
he's on the ground with him. Terrible place to be. So
he's ranked 12.
Yeah.
After that win, I think.
He was 14 coming into that fight.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get someone in the top 10.
Yeah.
I don't know who. I don't know who's going to be available. What dance partner is going to be available.
Yeah.
I suppose the reality is the cards are still a little bit disjointed with COVID and who can travel here and there. But
we find now that with Jones moving to heavyweight, the top 10 is wide open for a serious shake-up.
Yeah. And to be honest, on that showing, I'd be very interested in seeing him again, and I really would like to see him fighting someone that 8, 9, 10 area.
I'd actually give him someone around the 8-7-6 rank.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
just to see how he swims in those waters.
Yeah, and I'd say every light heavyweight though watching that. I mean, listen, we're in the day when everyone is well rounded, everyone trains jits.
Yeah,
but I would say everyone that saw that fight, all the light heavyweights, sat up and took notice that you do not want to end up on the ground unless you, there's no room for error if you hit the ground.
No, I mean, look at
what we've seen so far. Again, listen, there's steps and levels to this and all the rest of it I know, but I think everyone knows he's not messing around on the ground.
No, I mean, look at what happened in the first 5 seconds. They clinched. Yeah. He pulled guard. He dropped to the ground on his back, pulling what's his name, Hill on top of him.
Yeah. It was unfortunate for Hill. Hill is quite young. Sorry, when I say quite young, he's new to the game. He's 30. He's only had 10 fights, 8 wins. That was his first loss.
Yeah.
He had a no contest. That was originally a win, and he got overturned for fucking. He popped for marijuana.
Yeah.
Come on,
more nonsense that needs to be sorted.
But anyway, yeah. So he came into the Dana White Contender Series TKO win. He then had a decision win. He had that TKO. We'll just give it a TKO win, and then he stopped over St. Preux. Last time he looked very good on the Hermanson Vettori. He had his shoulder or his elbow. I think it was shoulder elbow was dislocated there, so he's going to need some time to heal.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that's why it's considered TKO, because it was a dislocation as opposed to a break or a submission.
Yeah, maybe. But to be honest, I think I'd be interested in seeing both of them fighting again. More so, Craig, just to see, can he build some momentum now? He's three wins in a row.
Yeah.
Realistically, he's won 4 of his last 5. He hasn't lost since 2019. So I'd like to see him get back in there relatively quickly.
He needs a top 10 head hanging at his belt. That's what he needs to carry him forward.
He kick on?
There was a little bit of controversy about this fight. Well, for me, I thought the refereeing was fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
I thought it was dreadful refereeing.
It was, but do you know what? I looked at it. We talked this briefly. I did look at it 2 more times, and I can 100% see where people had a problem with it.
Yeah.
I know Dana White was giving out about it, and someone else giving it. I can 100% see that, but I can also see that there was some very, very fast transitions, and it was moving because of how aggressive he is. And I suppose nearly as a referee, maybe their conditioning is looking at on the ground, or if there's a striking element, they're looking for that loss of consciousness or ability to defend.
Yeah.
When it's submissions, I suppose they're looking for a tap, and there was no tap. Maybe the focus was too heavy on looking for a tap as opposed to looking at the limbs because
keep in mind that they're also one of their main things. Their main jobs in there is the safety of the fighters, which means that they shouldn't necessarily be focusing on a tap or a knockout. They should also be watching the physical, what's going on.
Yeah, I think it's just the evolution of the sport. I think it's just natural. Referees have fallen into that. Maybe just if it's on the ground in these submission exchanges, grappling exchanges, you're looking for a tap or loss of consciousness.
That elbow popped, and it was visibly popped for a couple of seconds, while his right arm, the free arm, was just kind of flopping around in shock. He didn't know whether to. It was like he was in such pain, or maybe neural shock going up his arm, that his left arm, that his right arm didn't actually know what to do. It looked like it was half tapping, half grabbing at the foot, and missing both.
Yeah.
So it looked like he was in some sort of physical shock for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
And
Nasty
Paul
submission.
Craig actually felt the elbow pop out, and in his defense, stopped going for the left arm.
Yeah.
He actually stopped because he knew. But what else can you do to a dislocated elbow? Once it's dislocated, you've lost the leverage necessary to really
It's good as
to do
useless.
anything else.
Yeah.
It wasn't nice looking.
No.
It looked horrible. And then when the ref went to hold their hands, the way in the middle, and he held Hill's right arm. Hill let go of his own left arm, and the left arm started kind of rotating weirdly on its own.
Yeah, apparently it was put back into position.
Yeah, apparently one of the medics was able to just pop it back in.
Fuck me.
No thanks.
But yeah, let's see what the future brings with
Jordan. Paul Craig definitely want to look at how he's going to swim in the top 10 waters.
Yeah, and can he push on, kick on, and build on the momentum he's built up, and really make a run for that top 10? That top 10.
Nice highlight reels finish as well.
Big time, yeah. Next fight, Belal Muhammad, Damian Maia. Not a whole pile to talk about. Bit of a stinker.
That was a proper stinker.
Yeah. Listen, Maia is as good as done, really.
Yeah. I mean, to take anything away from that fight, you have to look at Maia's age and the fact that he did pretty much nothing except charge in for kind of really rudimentary and badly timed takedown attempts, if you want to call them that.
Yeah, and do you know what? He got himself back after a 3-fight losing streak back in 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
And he got himself back into a reasonably good streak. He submitted Lyman Good. He beat Anthony Martin by decision. He submitted Ben Askren, and now he was stopped by Gilbert Burns then in 2020. And he lost this fight. But I think the thing is, he didn't look good against Burns, and he certainly didn't look good against Muhammad.
That fight, he just looked really bad. I don't know what was going on.
It was like one of those nights the age caught up with him. He was just slow, and
he couldn't get around Belal Muhammad's one-legged balance in that.
Yeah,
which you know what I mean. It looks good for Muhammad. He was able to balance and keep his balance and stay on the feet. But for someone of Maia's status to not be able to get around that,
well, listen. The reality is, if you're trying to compete in the top 15, listen, the reality is he just doesn't have it anymore. He's 43. He's achieved a lot in the sport. If I would like to think he would just give up MMA, and there's loads of work there for him on the grappling circuit, submission wrestling. His jiu-jitsu is still one of the most elite grapplers to ever compete in mixed martial arts.
Yeah,
I have no interest really in seeing him fighting in mixed martial arts again. He looked his age.
Yeah,
he looked slow and as you say, it was a stinker. Not much more to say about it.
That's him out of the top 10 anyway, for certain.
Oh Jesus!
We'll see what the future holds from Muhammad. Belal Muhammad looked all right. He wasn't capitalizing.
It's hard to judge him from it.
It is, I know. But I think he could have capitalized on Maia being so predictable, and these really, a lot of old bad habits from Maia, which I don't think Muhammad. Muhammad just concentrated on his takedown defense and didn't really do much else.
No, and Joe, listen, it's something I've spoken of before. I think Belal Muhammad's his big problem is he's not a finisher.
Yeah,
he's on a good win streak. He hasn't been beaten since 2019. He had that no contest against Leon Edwards. He's had one submission and then just decisions. And I think if you're looking for that top 10, I've said before, if you want, he's now number 9, but if you really want that top 10 constantly in and around that and getting into your top 5 and challenging for our number 1 contenders and titles, if you're not finishing, lads, it's just not. I just don't think it's sustainable. You need to be finishing, guys.
Yeah.
But not overly impressed by him.
No.
We'll see what he's going to do. I think he's too small for welterweight anyway.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest. Next fight up saw the return of one Nathan Diaz.
Yeah.
I'm not
Unranked.
surprised, motherfuckers. I got to say something. Listen. Him and Nick, sometimes when they're talking, they fucking do my head in.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another fighter on the roster that can be off. Let me just double check this so I have the dates right. So his last fight was November 2019.
Okay.
He fought once before that in 2019, and then he didn't fight since 2016.
Yeah.
So in 5 years, the guts of 5 years, he's had 3 fights.
Yeah.
I don't know another fighter that could come back, fight the number 3 ranked person in your division, and nearly fucking beat them.
Yeah.
Again, I don't.
And technically, a main event, even though it was the first co-main event that went 5 rounds.
Yeah.
It went 5 rounds.
Again, Leon Edwards is I think one of those guys. It's a lot of decisions.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a stoppage win since 2018.
Yeah, I was going to say 2017. Who was it in 2018?
Peter Sabata.
Yeah.
And then before that, he'd won submission against Albert Tumenev. That was back in 2016.
Yeah.
Unless you're finishing guys, I just don't think you're going to survive in that.
Yeah.
I
mean, he looked good for the first, maybe the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
He was causing Diaz a good bit of problems.
Yep.
You
had to have Diaz though, and do you know what? Again, a lot of their street talk's a bit fucking. But he's right in the sense of, in the real world, he wins that fight.
Yeah, it is true.
And Leon Edwards knows that.
Yeah.
That fight, if that was a no, like I put it this way, if they introduced no time limits,
or
a 1 round 25-minute fight, Diaz is going to beat 99% of them because it's like he's too ignorant to accept that he can't. Like, there's no way he doesn't get tired. And I know people are going to say he does triathlons and all the rest of it. I get it. There's no way he doesn't physically get tired. He's human.
It's almost
but he just refuses. Yeah, he just refuses to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't give a shit. Unless you're putting him unconscious, he's going to walk away saying, I won the fight. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, you have to hand him. Listen, some of the boxing was a bit rusty, a bit sloppy at times. He was still backing up the number 3 in the division. He was still
landing a couple of those, those long 1-2 combos.
Yeah, the big awkward 1-2 he has.
Some of them are absolutely on point.
Yeah, and then he cracks him that last 45 seconds, last 50 seconds.
Do you know what? We talked about this. What annoyed me about that little section of time, he cracked him good with was it a left right or something like that?
Yeah. Well, it was the left hand that really did the damage. The left hand. Now he did land the right, but the left hand really
a right left or something. Anyway, whatever it was, he landed a really nice little combo. And I don't know for certain, but it did look like Edwards was kind of half out on his feet.
He was badly hurt.
He was stepping backwards, and he had that unfocused look where he wasn't really looking at Diaz. And Diaz had a moment.
He pointed at him instead of doing it. He had
a moment where if he had gone forward and landed another 1 or 2 of those, he was winning that fight. Game over. Yeah. But he did that thing where he pointed and, arms out. What, motherfucker?
Joe 9, bitches.
He threw 10 or 15 seconds to Edwards. And Edwards kind of rallied himself and came back.
Yeah. It's
Diaz had that fight in his pocket in those last 45 seconds, and he fucking threw it up.
I'm going to say something. I'd like to see Diaz get back down to lightweight. He doesn't have the bulk for welterweight. I'd like to see him go to lightweight. I don't know if he can make lightweight anymore. He's a big, tall dude, and he's not getting any younger. But I would like to see him go to lightweight.
Still, it goes to show that even though he's unranked,
he can still do it.
Still not a given putting him up against anyone. He could still.
And it's a dangerous fight for anyone in the top 5 to take because he's not ranked, and you could be beating the shit out of him for 4.5 rounds.
Then he'd beat you
for 4 minutes, for 4 rounds, 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah.
You could be beating the shit out of him, and he's never out of it.
Yeah.
He really is never out of it.
He's not a ranked opponent, yet he's a really big draw.
Massive.
So think about that from another top 10 fighter's point of view.
Yeah.
They go, I want that fight, but I also don't want that fight.
Yeah. So I don't know what they're going to do with him next. Apparently he wants to fight. Whether he has any interest in going to lightweight, I don't know. I would like to see him at lightweight. Leon Edwards, he just, for me, the stopping power isn't there.
I mean, and that performance, I don't know how he matches up with anyone else in the top 5.
Yeah. I'm not I won't lie, I'm not the biggest fan of him. He's lacking something for me there.
Yeah.
For me, I really think it's that ability to finish fights.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway, be interesting to see what happens to both of them.
Yeah.
To see how it shakes up.
Now the next fight, I'm gonna say this. I fancied Moreno to win. This one.
Yeah.
I would have never bet money that he was going to win how he did.
Yeah.
Never.
Well,
I'm a big fan of Figueiredo. I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's fantastic. He's an excellent fighter.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the end of him by any stretch of the imagination. I think the weight cut was tough for him. I don't know if he's going to move up or not.
Yeah.
But I would have never thought Moreno was going to win by submission.
You there?
Sorry. I didn't listen. I know he's a fantastic submission fighter, Moreno. 11 submissions, but I just didn't see a submission there with Figueiredo being so crafty.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like he had the bit between his teeth.
Yeah.
And it was going to be his night.
Yeah.
It just looked like it was really going to be his night
from the get go, from the very first bell off they went. He was looking faster, more focused, more accurate.
Yeah.
And he was straight in the thick of it. Like he wasn't giving Figueiredo any kind of room to kind of set up anything.
No.
He was in his face.
I don't fancy an immediate rematch, to be honest.
No, I don't either. I want to see how he does.
I'd like to see Moreno do something else.
Yeah,
and Figueiredo do something else.
Yeah.
I know the talk is that Figueiredo is struggling to get to that 125.
Yeah, it might be a case that he might have to move up.
Yeah.
In which case it would be unfair on Moreno giving Figueiredo an immediate rematch.
Yeah.
Because he might be vacating it anyway.
Yeah. But listen, I'm really interested in seeing both of them fighting again.
Yeah.
They're both, I mean, what's not to like about them? They're both finishers. They're both aggressive. They're both technically sound. They both have loads of heart, as shown by their first fight where they fucking tore lumps off each other. They're both resilient. They're well-rounded. I'm interested to see both of them fighting again.
After that fight, I really, really warmed to Moreno. Now, I liked him anyway, but he was so accurate, fast, aggressive, and very well-rounded in everything he did. I mean, his hands were like lightning. His little bang, 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 little 1-2, 1-2-3 combos. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful, spot on.
Yeah.
And when it went to the ground in round 3, when he
I was shocked at how quick he was.
Locked in that body triangle. Like his fundamentals were really there. Locked in the body triangle.
Oh, yeah.
Start hitting him in the head to kind of loosen him up, and then boom, got it in for the tap. Real tight.
Yeah, really. Yeah. And that crank was something else.
Very nice to see who they throw at that belt now with him defending it.
Yeah. And listen, I'm interested in seeing. I'm a big fan of Figueiredo. A big fan of Moreno. Some of these, like the lighter weights, kind of get written off. The action and the skill. Like I was a huge fan of Mighty Mouse as well, and Cejudo. Like the skill level is so high, the technique level is so high, but they're still fishing. They're finishing lads.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Finish, you know.
Yep.
Good fight. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing both of them back in the cage whenever that is. Main event. Israel Adesanya and Marvin Vettori.
Marvin Vettori ranked number 2.
Yeah, this is their second fight. I'm going to say 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I would have said Vettori has a very good chance of winning this fight.
Yeah.
I rewatched their first fight and then I watched the Vettori Herman fight. I completely changed my mind after the pre-fight press conference.
Yeah.
He was emotionally completely.
Yeah, we were talking about this. Yeah, he was getting overly wound up and aggressive and shouting and
shouting and screaming. He just seemed like he was out of control. Now, the weird thing is though, like I would have been wrong in my reasoning because I thought that energy was going to carry over into the fight, and it didn't.
No, it didn't.
He to me he looked pretty flat. His striking was okay.
He was going for the same thing again and again.
Same thing. He was very repetitive, very easy to read.
I mean, there was even a weird kind of element to it where his what's his coach's name again?
Who, Vettori's?
Yeah.
Oh
my God! Why is this gone out of my head?
Who was his?
Rafael Cordero.
Oh yeah.
Where his coach was pretty upset with him in the corner, wasn't happy with him. Was saying, "Come on, we need to get it together now. We've trained for this." And Vettori was like getting angry with him.
Yeah.
Like Vettori seemed to be convinced he was winning these rounds, which was very strange because. And now, we talked about this as well. I watched Chael Sonnen talking about Izzy did not win all of those rounds. I don't know what Chael Sonnen was watching.
I couldn't find one round to give to Vettori.
Vettori didn't threaten with anything, and certainly didn't put enough. He didn't put enough. How would you say? He didn't throw enough different cards on the table to worry what Adesanya had in his hand. And
now, the annoying thing for me was I think Adesanya didn't. Some people were saying he looked amazing. He looked this. I don't think he did, and I think
he looked amazing. But I
think he looked a little bit pedestrian, like
capable.
Oh yeah, he looked. Listen, he looked in absolute control, as good as every minute of the fight.
Yeah.
I would have liked a bit more urgency for him to get him out of there.
Yeah.
A little bit more aggression. But listen, maybe he just wanted to show that he wasn't on his level, and he showed that because it became pretty clear that he wasn't on his level, and it was kind of an unimaginative performance. He had nothing new. He hadn't really improved.
No.
And again, fucking like a broken record player. No, he's no stopping power. He's not submitting or stopping lads.
No.
So the fear isn't there that, like, he doesn't have that to fall back on. And his opponents know he's not a big puncher. He's not going to be dropping you or flattening you or knocking you out. That's just the reality of it. I don't expect him to hang around too much longer in the top 5. I think he'll have another win or two, but I think there's been a pretty clear plan laid out what you need to do to beat him. And just without him getting some evolution going in his game and starting to add a couple of wrinkles to his game, I don't see him really threatening anyone again in that top 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I'd say his card has been had.
I'd say so as well. I mean the what would you call it? The self-delusion of Vettori at the end of the fight, where he had his hand raised and he looked not like like some fighters do it, but you can tell that they know that they haven't won, and he was doing it, and it looked like
he even said it to Adesanya, didn't he?
He said, "I won that."
Yeah, what
and Adesanya was like,
"All right, yeah, whatever."
But honestly, he didn't do anything.
No, it was a very handy. Someone, one of the commentators, I think, said it kind of looked a bit sparring-esque, like he was kind of sparring.
Yes, and it was only when someone actually said that I kind of went, yeah, it kind of did. It looked like a sparring session, and not even a overly, more like someone running through their paces.
One fighter who's clearly better than another one.
Yeah.
I would have thought that he stood a good chance. It's obvious that Izzy is still progressing, is still adding skills and getting better in certain areas. And the reality is he's gonna have to keep getting better. If he's gonna hang around, if he does still have notions of going to 205, he's gonna still have to continue getting better on the ground. His takedown defense and his all round game will have to keep getting better. I think it is getting better.
Yeah.
Which and you know, in some ways that's scary because he is extremely good. His distance management is exceptional. His accuracy is phenomenal. Anyone wants to actually look at him when he stopped Derek Brunson. He was punching a moving target falling down. I don't think he missed once.
Yeah.
His accuracy when he's on, he's really on.
Ridiculous.
His leg dexterity is fantastic. I think there's still room for growth, and I think that's frightening that he can be that far ahead of the pack and still have room for growth.
Yeah.
But I think Vettori didn't really improve between the last fight. I think he's calling out Borchino, your man Costa.
Paulo Costa.
I don't know. It's one of those things like, am I all that interested in seeing that fight?
That has all the hallmarks of being a really, really boring fight. Or it has also the hallmarks of someone getting sparked out very quickly.
If anyone's going to be getting starched, it's going to be Vettori because he's not starting people.
Yeah.
Interesting. He looked. Was it just me, or did he look particularly bulky?
He did. Yeah.
In there,
he did.
He looked like he'd added a couple of inches to his upper body.
Yeah.
I don't know if that played any part, and I don't even know if it's true, but I think someone else might have mentioned it, one of the commentators or something like that. He seemed to look thicker and a little bit wider in the upper body.
Well, it is a weird one. I think anyone looks wider when they're fighting or when they're holding down Izzy because he's so rangy and long.
Rangy. Maybe, but I kind of look at one or two of his other fights and it did look like he'd added a bit of muscle. But it didn't translate into any extra performance. That's just it didn't. It's kind of the middleweight division now. I don't know. I've no interest in seeing him fight Costa again until Costa gets a win. I mean, the gap between Izzy and Costa was pretty big when they got in the cage.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's comes down to what Izzy wants to do. Robert Whittaker obviously could be next in line. I think there's talks on that coming about.
Yeah.
I think Whittaker is the only one that really gives him problems.
Whittaker is very much more well-rounded than Izzy's last few opponents.
Yeah. And I think on Robert Whittaker, who's sharp and he's ready to go. I think that'd be a very, very interesting fight. Who takes it now? I couldn't even hazard a guess.
It's a good matchup.
Yeah. I know the first fight went obviously Izzy's way. I think Whittaker had been out a while. He had an injury or two. He did look a bit rusty. Fresh or ready to go Whittaker. I'd be very interested to see him. Could be the same outcome. It could be an early stoppage for Izzy. I don't know, but I think skill for skill, he's the only one at the moment I think could really challenge, could cause Izzy problems.
I would possibly say go out on a limb and say that Whittaker would be Izzy's most dangerous opponent.
Yeah,
in that division,
in the middleweight, yeah.
Anyway, we'll see what the future of that division throws at Izzy. Anyway.
Yep.
So we'll leave it there. Look, that was a short one, just going over 263 since it's been a while since we managed to get our schedules together, and we won't say what we're doing next. We'll just see can we get all three of us again. There will be another
well.
card between now and then.
Yeah, and we'll hopefully we won't leave it as long.
No, we won't leave it as long. We'll try and get a couple of picks in as well on the next one for the following card.
Go.
All right.
All right.
All right then.
Peace out.
I'll talk to you after.
Take it easy.